There is a type of person that the world cannot break, not because life never hit them hard, not because they were born lucky or strong or immune to pain, but because somewhere along the way, through practice, through failure, through radical self-knowledge. Before we start, make sure to subscribe, like and share this video so that it helps everyone. They built something inside themselves that no circumstance could reach. The Japanese called it Fudoshin, the immovable mind, and Jizai, the freedom that comes not from running away from life, but from mastering it. The Stoics called it equanimitas, unshakable equilibrium. Today I want to share 3 rules with you, 3 principles drawn from thousands of years of Eastern and Western wisdom that actually show you how to build that, not theory, a roadmap. Let's begin. Welcome to my Ikigai life lens, where we take the deepest wisdom from East and West and make it livable. If this is your first time here, I'm glad you found this. If you've been here before, let's go deeper today. 3 rules, each one rooted in ancient philosophy. Each one practical, embodied, and tested by human experience across centuries. Let's go. I want to start with something a little personal because I think it's the only honest way to open this. A few years ago, I went through a period where I was almost completely bedridden. My body had essentially stopped cooperating, and I remember lying there day after day, surrounded by books, by ideas, by all the frameworks and philosophies I had been collecting for years. I had plenty of time to think, and none of it helped, not really. What shifted things was not a new insight. It was a decision to start moving, slowly, painfully, imperfectly, just to do something physical, even if it was tiny, even if it hurt. And in that process, something began to change that I cannot fully explain in words, because it didn't happen in words. It happened in my body first, and then it reached my mind. That experience taught me something I couldn't have learned from any book, that the body is not just a vehicle we use to carry our thoughts around. The body is the path. The physical and the spiritual are not 2 separate territories. They are one continuous journey. And for me, the inner work only really began once I started with the physical. Japanese philosophical principles have understood this for centuries. Through practice, there is information and knowledge being transmitted to you that will never ever come to you if you would only read books. I lived that. And I think many of you watching this have felt it too, maybe without having the language for it. Think about it this way. You can read every book ever written about swimming, every coaching manual, every technique guide, every biomechanical study, and then you step into the water and you sink, because the knowledge your body needs was never stored on a page. This is where the Japanese concept of shuhari is so useful. It describes the 3 stages of mastery, and the first stage, shu, is simply this: follow the form, practice the fundamentals, trust the structure before you understand it. You don't begin by asking why, you begin by doing, and through the doing, the why gradually reveals itself, not as an idea you understand, but as a truth you have actually lived. Aristotle said it from the Western side of things: we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act but a habit, not a thought, a habit, a daily returning to the practice. And I'll ask you what I used to ask myself: how much of your personal growth is still mostly theoretical? How many podcasts, how many books, how many frameworks have you collected? And how much of it have you actually put your body into? Because information without practice doesn't make you wiser. It makes you more fluent in the language of wisdom, and that is genuinely not the same thing. Marcus Aurelius knew this. The emperor of the Roman world didn't just read Stoicism. Every single morning, before anything else, He sat with his journal and he practiced it. He applied the principles to the specific, messy, real events of his life, day after day. That is why his mind was immovable, not because of what he read, because of what he did. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs it today, and subscribe if you haven't yet. This is Rule 1. Your body is your laboratory. Your practice is your teacher. The wisdom that actually changes your life lives in your hands, your posture, your breath, not just your head. Start somewhere. Pick one practice, physical, meditative, creative, and show up to it every day for 30 days. Not to perfect it, just to be in it. And watch what it begins to transmit to you. The unshakable person is forged in practice. Here is something that Japanese philosophy says about failure that I find genuinely liberating. Making something wrong the first time is not a mistake. It is your chance to correct it. But, and this is where it gets real, making the same mistake over and over again because you are unwilling to learn from it, that is the mistake. Confucius, whose thinking deeply shaped Japanese philosophy, put it this way: the person who makes the same error twice has learned nothing. The person who makes it once and transforms it into wisdom has made the best possible investment. Now I want to bring in something from Japanese philosophy that genuinely moves me every time I think about it. Kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. When a bowl shatters in Japanese tradition, you don't throw it away. You don't hide the cracks. You fill them with gold lacquer, and the repaired object becomes more beautiful, more valuable, more singular than it ever was before it broke. The philosophy underneath this is radical. The break is not a flaw. The break is part of the story, and the healing of the break is what makes the object irreplaceable. What would it mean to apply that to your own life? To look at the places where you broke, the relationship that collapsed, the career that unraveled, the version of yourself you had to leave behind. And instead of hiding those cracks, instead of carrying them as shame, you traced them in gold. You said, this is where I broke, and this is where I grew. The Stoics had a practice for exactly this. They called it amor fati, love of fate, not resignation, not pretending the hard things didn't hurt. Active, deliberate love of everything that has happened to you, because everything that has happened to you is the precise material your life is made of. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Not someday I will get past this obstacle and then my real life begins." The obstacle is the path. Your difficult childhood, your public failure, your broken marriage, your body that stopped working the way you needed it to, your bankruptcy, your grief. These are not detours from your story. They are the chapters that made you who you are. Sometimes the moments that make you cry, that force you to confront yourself, that are super uncomfortable, those are exactly the moments you should be most thankful for, because they carry the potential to unlock something very fundamental inside you, something that comfort never could. Growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the exact moment when everything falls apart and you have to decide consciously, deliberately, what you are going to carry forward and what you are going to leave behind. I know this because I lived it. When my body broke down and I found myself bedridden, I had no choice but to face that exact decision. I couldn't outrun it. I couldn't intellectualize my way past it. I had to choose, in the middle of the hardest season of my life, what I was going to do with what remained. That decision became the foundation of everything I'm sharing with you today. In Japanese philosophy, this is the practice of hansei, deep reflection after difficulty, not self-punishment, not spiraling into rumination, clear-eyed, honest learning. You ask, what happened? What did I contribute to this? What does this teach me? What will I do differently? That loop, that honest returning to the experience, is what transforms pain into wisdom. We cannot undo the past, but the question is never, how do I undo what happened? The question is always, what will I take from this? That reframe is a form of liberation. Not liberation from pain, but liberation from the idea that your past gets to define your future. Your past shapes your present, yes, but your present decisions are already building your future. Right now, in this moment, the unshakable person does not pretend they were never broken. They know exactly where they broke, exactly what it cost them, and exactly what it taught them. And they carry those lessons like gold in the cracks. This is rule 2. Treat failure as your most rigorous teacher. Practice kintsugi on your own story. You are not who you are despite your breaks. You are who you are in part because of them. This third rule is the one I find most people resist at first, and I understand why. Because on the surface, it sounds completely backwards. We all want freedom. That's what most of us are actually chasing when we talk about personal growth. Freedom from circumstance, from expectation, from the weight of other people's definitions of who we should be. And Japanese philosophy asks a question that stops you in your tracks. If you want to know what is spiritual, don't approach spirituality. Figure out what is physical, master that, and you will get there. You want freedom, but how do we actually live? Within structure, within rules, within walls. Freedom through structure. I know it sounds like a contradiction, but it is one of the oldest and most consistent insights across both Eastern and Western wisdom. Think about the Japanese martial art of Aikido. The entire practice is built on kata, precise, formal sequences of movement. You don't start by improvising. You spend years, sometimes decades, mastering the forms. Every angle, every footstep, every breath governed by structure. And then, only then, when the structure has been so deeply embodied, it no longer needs thinking. True freedom emerges. The master doesn't think about how to move. The movement simply happens. The structure has become invisible because it has become internal. This is Mushin, the concept of no mind in Japanese martial philosophy. A mind so trained, so structured in its practice that it moves with complete spontaneity. The paradox resolves itself through practice. Epictetus understood this from a completely different starting point. This man began his life as a literal slave, with no freedom by any external measure. And yet he became one of the freest minds in all of recorded history. How? Through the most rigorous internal structure imaginable. He decided with absolute clarity which things were within his control and which were not. He built his entire inner life around that distinction. And from within that structure, he was untouchable. His body could be enslaved. His opinions, his values, his responses, his character, those belonged entirely to him. Nobody could reach those. Make the best use of what is in your power, he said, and take the rest as it happens. Structure what you can control. Release what you cannot. That is freedom. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi adds another layer to this. Finding beauty in imperfection and impermanence. It teaches you something quietly radical. Life is not controllable. Circumstances are not controllable. Other people are definitely not controllable. But your practice is yours. Your attention is yours. Your response is yours. Wabi-sabi invites you to stop fighting impermanence and instead build an inner structure so stable that external chaos no longer threatens it. You stop needing the world to be a certain way in order to feel okay. That is Fudoshin in practice. The immovable mind, not rigid, not closed off, immovable at its center. Think of a tree in a storm. The branches bend, the leaves scatter, the whole tree moves. but the roots hold. The tree doesn't fight the storm. It moves with it and remains standing. The unshakable person has roots, and those roots come from structure, daily practice, clear values, honest self-examination, the capacity to hold both tension and relaxation, because both belong together. You cannot have one without the other. And this is where all three rules converge. When you forge yourself in daily practice, you build the roots. When you learn from failure rather than hiding from it, you deepen them. And when you accept that structure is actually the path to freedom, you stop looking for liberation somewhere outside yourself, and you find it where it has always been, in the quality of your inner life. This is rule 3. Build the structure that sets you free. Discipline your practice, clarify your values, master your responses, and discover that the freedom you were searching for was always available to you on the other side of the work. Let me bring this back to where we started. The unshakable person is not someone who never gets hit. I am living proof of that. I got hit. I spent time flat on my back, genuinely unsure what came next. What changed wasn't a perfect plan. It was a decision to start with the body, to build from practice, to stop waiting for the right moment, and to show up in the one I had. And there is something I keep coming back to from Japanese philosophy that explains why this matters beyond just personal development. There is a type of knowledge people don't want getting out there, because after you have this knowledge, after you practice and develop yourself, you cannot be controlled anymore. You cannot be influenced so easily, because you see for yourself what you can do and what you cannot do. You don't need anyone to tell you what you are capable of. That is what these 3 rules are building toward.